Hello, happy Sunday fun day. Welcome to the Empower Hour. This is our monthly broadcast we do. Used to be weekly, now we're going monthly. Every first Sunday of the month. So go ahead and put that on your calendar. Every first Sunday of the month at this time, you will catch the Empower Hour, always giving you helpful tidbits to help you on your journey as you try to move forward with your life after leaving the Jehovah's Witness religion. Today, we're going to be talking about learning to believe in yourself, building your self esteem, and learning to honor and trust your intuition. These are very, very big things to begin to master as you leave the witnesses because these things were really downplayed when you were a witness. There's a disconnection from self. There is a overall way that people are taught to look at themselves as being sinful and not good enough and all that stuff where you're just clinging on to the organization because you can't trust yourself. And when you get into the real world, these things don't work anymore. These are definitely things that will lead to your failure and your struggle when you take that mindset into the real world. And first of all, I want to really congratulate all of you on the courage that you've shown to step into what's difficult. There are a lot of people who remain in the religion because they're afraid to leave. They're afraid of the fallout from leaving, so they are living a very inauthentic life. I would say a good percentage of Jehovah Witnesses live a very inauthentic life. So pat yourself on the back, give yourself some credit for stepping into living an authentic life in alignment with who you really are. But to be in alignment with who we really are, we must learn to believe in ourselves. We must see the power in ourselves. We must think good things about ourselves. We must raise our self esteem, recognize our uniqueness and what makes us special, what makes us a one of one special edition human being, never to be repeated again. You are special and you need to know that. So today we're going to be talking about learning to believe in yourself. So what are some of the things that we need to do to learn to believe in ourselves? First of all, we must recognize our past. We must recognize our conditioning of the past. Your conditioning is wasn't set for you to succeed. The conditioning you had as a Jehovah Witness was a conditioning that helped you to serve an organization and to serve their agenda and their purpose. It was not set for you. How does conditioning work? Conditioning works by programming the subconscious mind. 90 to 95% of what you do is subconscious. You might view yourself through your conscious mind. You might identify with your conscious mind because that's how you take in information. You take in information through your five senses, but that does not dictate how you move in life. It does not dictate your decisions in life. Your decisions are dictated through your subconscious. That's why sometimes you don't know why you do what you do. Sometimes consciously looking at your decisions, it makes no sense. You say to yourself, why did I do that? That makes no sense. Why did I sabotage my life? Why did I get involved with that? Why am I responding that way? It's because it's your subconscious programming. How does your subconscious get programmed? Mainly through repetition, mainly through doing the same thing over and over again or telling the same story to yourself over and over again. And if repetition is the mother of retention, if that is what is causing your subconscious mind to be programmed, much like a computer gets programmed, right? You program a computer, our minds are the same way. If repetition is how we program our subconscious mind, then who programmed our subconscious mind? Yes, it was the Jehovah's Witnesses. Most times people will say, well, my parents programmed me. But your parents were programmed by the Jehovah's Witnesses for most of you. And then all that repetition, all the meeting, hearing the same stuff over and over and over again becomes part of your programming. It's how you see the world. And just because you leave the religion, it doesn't mean you've left the programming. So a lot of ex-witnesses, most ex-witnesses, are still dealing with their Jehovah Witness subconscious programming and trying to plug into the real world with that programming, with that conditioning. And I like to say it's kind of like going to Europe. If any of you have been to Europe from the United States, or vice versa, if you're in Europe, you came to the United States, you'll find that you can't plug in your electrical, um, you know, components, your computer and whatnot. You need an adapter because the electricity is different. You need an adapter to plug it in the wall. And that's what it's like when you leave the witnesses and you go into the real world. You're trying to plug in to the real world and it's not working. You need an adapter. You need something to kind of make that work for you. So it's understanding your programming so you can reprogram, put an adapter on that programming so you can fit in with the rest of the world. Understand that your beliefs become your reality. You see, witnesses like to use the word the truth. But remember this about life: truth is simply what you've accepted yourself as being true. Truth is simply the reality that you've bought into. So you can't walk away from something that was inundated in your mind without reprogramming your mind because you were taught that was the truth. A lot of you still use the word the truth. That's part of your programming, part of your conditioning. I've heard people tell me, well, I left the truth when I found out it was a lie. That makes no sense, does it? It's simply not true. So we need to understand our programming and we need to separate ourselves from it. So to override the programming of the past, we need to start reprogramming our mind. I don't know how many of you are old enough to remember the cassette tapes, right? We're not that old, it wasn't that long ago. But with the cassette tapes, we would record over the songs we didn't want to hear anymore, right? Most of us didn't have much money, so we had to use the same cassette tape over and over and over again, right? So you got tired of these songs, you had some new jams on the radio, and you would take the tape that you didn't care about the songs anymore, right? I mean, these are old songs. You taped over the song. Didn't mean it wasn't still there. You recorded over it. You put different grooves over that cassette tape. And that's what it's like when you leave the witnesses. You got to reprogram your mind. You got to record over that. How do you do that? Well, you start with affirmations. No one talks to you more than you talk to yourself. There's a constant chatter in your mind. You're talking to yourself constantly. And the problem is for a lot of people is that constant talk is more negative than positive. It's telling you why you're not good enough. It's telling you why you're not worthy. If you in your mind validate the thoughts of people from your past, you'll never feel good enough. How many of you were the black sheep of your family? Usually it's the conscious one. It's the one with a higher consciousness that's the black sheep of the family because they just don't play the game. They don't just accept things. That's the person that's questioning things all the time. That's the person that just doesn't go along with it. Witnesses tell you to be sheep like all the time. Just follow, don't think. And they've gone as far as to tell you, even if things don't sound right to you, listen anyway. That makes no sense, ladies and gentlemen. They're telling you, violate everything in you, violate your intuition, violate your good sense that's telling you that is something is wrong, and listen anyway. They're telling you to disobey your intuition and to disobey your common sense and to violate yourself. Makes no sense. So begin to reprogram your mind through affirmations. Tell yourself positive things. Remember, the words I am are the two most powerful words in the human language because what follows the words I am becomes super powerful. You are correct about whatever you say about yourself, positive or negative. I am not worthy. You aren't. I am amazing. You are. I am not smart. You're not. I am brilliant. You are. What do you want to tell yourself? You were taught to say, I am a sinner. I am a person who needs undeserved kindness. I am flawed, as if you're not complete. You got to get rid of that thinking. Because if you think you're not good enough, you're not. You're always correct about your thoughts. The third component of your mind, the super subconscious, has one job, and that job is to make you correct about whatever you have accepted as truth. And if your subconscious mind has accepted that you're not good enough as truth, then the super subconscious mind goes to look for every bit of evidence to prove that you're right. If you want to believe that you're not good enough, the super subconscious mind will go, yeah, and you screwed up there. Yup, and you messed up there. Yup, and you let that person down. Yup, and you didn't finish this. Yup, these are all the reasons why you're not good enough. It goes to validate it. If you use the proper words after I am brilliant. Your mind will go to look for evidence of your brilliance. Yep, you did that. Yep, you accomplished that. Yep, you helped that person with that. You are brilliant. Yep, you had that great idea. Yep, you started that business. Yep, you succeeded there. I'm intelligent. See, intelligence comes in different forms. It's not just not school intelligence. You don't. If you have a gift, you don't need the thing on your wall to say you're gifted. I'm a motivational speaker. I've spoken at many universities and colleges. I never went to college because I tell myself I'm smart in my own way. I have something to share that they don't even teach at college all that much. Right. So as a speaker, I've been hired to speak at Fortune 500 companies, never worked for one. Universities, never step foot in the classroom. Right. Because I don't tell myself that story. And when you believe the story you tell yourself, you'll act in accordance with that belief. And when you act in accordance with that belief, other people feel that energy and they'll treat you like you treat yourself. They'll believe in you like you believe in yourself. You're a walking self fulfilling prophecy of what you think. Use affirmations, which is you repeating positive things about yourself. Then also use visualization, where you visualize where you want to be. You visualize what you want as if it's already so. You bring the future into the present. You visualize so that you turn on a natural GPS system for your life, so that you gravitate toward your vision. Too many ex Jehovah Witnesses are always looking behind. How do you have a vision when you're looking behind? How do you have a vision if you're worried about what was behind you? How do you have a vision if you're worried about what the Jehovah Witnesses are doing now, or what they said at the last district assembly, or what they said at the last JW broadcast? That's energy going the wrong way. You have less energy for your dreams if you keep focusing on the past. I don't even call myself an ex Jehovah Witness. It's just part of my journey. I don't call myself that. I'm not limited by that. My focus is on where I'm going. If I don't see it in my mind's eye first, it's probably not going to happen. And I don't have any energy to give the Jehovah Witnesses if I'm going for my dreams. And when I see and I visualize the grandness of my dreams, then I live that vision today. And once you start convincing your subconscious mind of the vision you have, then the super subconscious mind looks for the route there. That's how you enact your natural GPS system, is to visualize knowing where you are, knowing where you're going, and you start finding the route there. But if your GPS system in your car was so obsessed with what's behind you, you'd never get to your destination. It just keeps pulling up the past. It'll just take you back, and you'll get frustrated because you're not going anywhere. You get in your car, you set your GPS to where you were yesterday, you go back to yesterday, and you'll just go in a circle. How many of you are going in a circle? Your GPS is programmed to yesterday. It'll take you to yesterday, And then you're programmed to yesterday again, and it takes you back to where you were the day before, and you're in a loop. How many ex-Jehovah Witnesses stay in a loop? Visualize. Now, how do you really enact this natural GPS system in your mind? You do it by setting goals. Setting goals to get you a little further tomorrow than you were today, step by step, right? Inch by inch, they say it's a cinch. Yard by yard, it all seems hard, right? You just keep moving a little at a time toward your goals. Set achievable goals. Really, every day, just have goals that take you a little bit further than where you were, so you start building on your success. Over time, you look at your life. If you're consistent about setting goals and achieving them, in time, you will look at your life and you go, wow, I came very far. Didn't feel like it, but when I look back 6 months, a year, 2 years, wow, I've come a long way. It's like going to the gym. If you look in the mirror every day, you don't see the difference, but you look at a picture of you from 6 months earlier. If you were consistent, and you're like, wow, I've come a long way. But you got to stay focused. What you also need to do is to have compassion for yourself, because you will make mistakes. Don't beat yourself up over your mistakes. Have compassion, dust yourself off, and get back on the horse. When you were a Jehovah Witness, you got shamed when you make a mistake. You got put on blast in front of the whole congregation. Everybody knew what you did. You're being judged for something for so long ago, something that was nobody's business. It's a religion that's very judgmental, but you've got to learn to be compassionate with yourself. Really own your successes, and when you make a mistake, don't blame people. Take responsibility, but dust yourself off and have compassion, knowing that every single one of us takes missteps. If you're beating yourself up, you didn't do anything everybody else didn't do. We make mistakes. When you beat yourself up over your mistakes, you'll tend to make the same mistake over and over and over again. Because instead of gaining the lesson from the mistake, you're busy beating yourself up. You're busy being in judgment of the mistake. Then the mistake will overwhelm you and you'll keep making the mistake. Treat yourself with the same compassion and kindness that you would a friend. Some of you will beat yourself up far worse than you would a friend. Right? If a friend made the same mistake, my computer to die. If a friend made the same mistake, you would not judge them with the harshness you judge yourself. When your children make a mistake, you can see past it. You want to forgive them, you want to build them back up. Well, if you do it for your kids, do it for you. Don't be harsher on yourself than you are your children or the people you love. Be compassionate and learn. Mistakes are there to teach you. They're not there to destroy you. Mistakes are not there for you to be judged over. It's to teach you. Your mistakes become your greatest teacher. And then when you make mistakes, use the affirmations. Affirmations. I am enough. I am worthy. Despite the mistakes, I am worthy. I forgive myself of my past mistakes. This mistake has taught me this, and the next time I will. Right? You pivot off your mistake. You don't sit there and beat yourself up and burn yourself down. You pivot. You go, I got the lesson. I'm pivoting this way. When this happens again, I'm going to react this way. You tell yourself in the present how you're going to react in the future. And when you do that, you watch your life elevate and you fell forward. You see, you can fail two different ways. When you fell backwards, you didn't learn. You'll get up and trip over the same thing, because you went backwards. You get up, triple the same thing. When you fell forward, you trip and you fall forward, and then you look back and say, that's what I tripped on. That'll never happen again. I see what that is. I'm actually further in life because of my mistake. That makes sense? I actually progressed in life because of my mistake. I'm actually further along because I made the mistake, because I learned from it. It was a teacher for me. Another thing you need to do to build this self-esteem and to build your confidence is to celebrate your accomplishments. And as a witness, you're somehow led to believe that something's wrong with that. You should celebrate yourself. Celebrate your accomplishments. I have a whole wall. See that wall here? That's a bunch of cool things I got to accomplish, right? And that's for nobody else. Nobody else comes in this room. It's just me. I remind myself I'm doing some cool things. I'm doing some good stuff. I need to remind myself of my accomplishments, right? So I could tell myself the right story all the time. That's just me. I'm the only one who sees that. I got stuff all over, all over. Things I got from my speaking engagements. Oh, look at that. That's all the up there. That's all the lays when I'm in Hawaii. They give me a lay every time I speak. I put them on my wall. I keep all that stuff, right? Reminds me. Over here is the letters I got from kids. Kids gave me those letters from grade school and high school. Kids wrote me letters. I put them on my wall because I want to remind myself that I'm doing good things. You need to remind yourself of your successes. Because if you don't, it gets off balance. The human mind will naturally look at the negative, right? That's why the news is negative, because the mind is drawn to negative. But if you don't counteract that, then you'll just see the negative things in your life. You'll be off balance. You got to balance that out and get it like that, where you're focused on the positive. I learn from the negative, right? Oh, this is the negative. I learn from the negative, but I'm focused on the positive. So it's balanced the right way. So you look at yourself the right way. Celebrate your accomplishments. Keep a journal. That's another thing. Keep a journal so you can note down your accomplishments. I remember when I got in a funk after I left the witnesses and my life went upside down. I got in a funk because I was struggling financially. I'd lost everything. My whole life went to smithereens. I just got my whole life got blown up. And at the time, I felt I felt kind of like a loser, like everything was going wrong. And I had to remind myself, no, you've done a lot of cool things. You're going to do it again. This is just a transition. And I had to remind myself of the things I did accomplish to feel good about myself. So look at the things you did that were accomplishments. And you can even look at the time when you're a Jehovah Witness. If you helped someone's life in that time, don't take that away from yourself. You did that. Another thing that's going to help you is when you start defining your own values and standards for yourself. When you're a witness, you just follow the religious rules. When I was a kid, kids would ask me, why can't you do that? Because I'm a Jehovah Witness. I didn't know why. We can't celebrate my birthday? No, why? I'm a Jehovah Witness. Those weren't my standards. And when you don't have your own standards, you will confuse your conscience for your rules. A lot of witnesses say, well, that bothers my conscience. That doesn't bother your conscience. It bothers your programming and your rules. Taking blood, oh, my conscience is, that's not your conscience. The rest of the world doesn't care. That was your programming. So a lot of people leave the witnesses and have this conscious crises of conscience, right? Because you think you're still bothered by things, not understanding that's not your conscience, that's your programming that's carried on. So when you start to define your own values, your confidence, your esteem, it grows. There's a lot of things I don't do morally, not because of a religion, not because anybody's going to scold me, because I know why I won't do it. Some things I did, I made the mistake and I didn't like the consequence of it. So I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not behaving that way anymore. Right. So I learned from my mistakes. I failed forward because I did do it. And I go, nah, that doesn't work for me. But it gives you so much confidence when you live in life and you got values and you got boundaries and you have standards of your own, not because some of religion. There's lots of things that is just not for me. I don't like the energy of some things. I don't like the consequence of some things. I don't like certain kinds of things in my life because it's heavy and it's negative energy, or some things that might be pleasurable in the moment. It is just have awful consequences in the end. And I've learned that. So I'm able to live by my standards, and that makes me feel valuable because I value me. Ooh, my place is spick and span right now, right? Because I like it spick and span, not because somebody's coming over, not because I'm trying to press somebody, not because I got any pressure. No, because I deserve it. I deserve to live in a spick and span, environment. I value me. Right? Why is it that your car is the cleanest when you're about to sell it? Somebody else going to take it. Why is it your place is the cleanest when you're trying to sell it or you're trying to get your deposit back? Why is it about other people? No, make it about you. Surround yourself with positive people. That's another key thing. If people are dragging you down and affecting your energy, you've got to distance yourself from those people. Your inner circle should just be people that support you. Learn who to put in your inner circle. If people aren't in your inner circle, you don't share your dreams and you don't share your problems with them. I'm going to give you a tip. I call this the dartboard of life. You got all these rings to your dartboard, right? That middle ring is the most intimate place in your life. That's somebody that you're in an intimate relationship, long-term intimate relationship. So a lot of you don't have anybody in that bullseye. That first ring, that would be somebody that would be your best man or your maid of honor at your wedding. You might have two people, two, three people that might qualify to be in ring one. Ring two, also very intimate. I'm talking about your inner circle people, also very intimate. Those are people that might be in your wedding party if you got married, right? Ring three, also very intimate. That's your inner rings. Ring bullseye, ring one, ring two, ring three. Ring three might be people you haven't known that long, but you just click. All these people will never talk behind your back. All these people will defend your name if somebody was talking about you. All these people come through over and over again. That's the only people you share your dreams or your problems with. Most of the people in your life are on rings 4, 5, and 6. Most of them. Even the person you might spend the most time with, because you might work with that's your girlfriend at work or somebody that might live across the street, or maybe you got kids the same age. You spend a lot of time with them, but you notice they gossip all the time. That's not an inner ring person. Because when you're not there, they're gossiping about you. Now, she might call you her best friend because she judges it by the amount of time you spend. And you're like, she thinks I'm her best friend, but she's on my ring 4. So I don't share intimate things with that person. You notice that person puts people down, right? You notice that person is just not that person that deserves to be an inner ring person. So surround yourself. Your inner rings are people of a positive influence. These are who you build your close friendships with. People that make you feel less than, you got to distance yourself from them, even if they're blood, even if they're family. They're not in a ring. You got to distance yourself. Trust your intuition. Your intuition is there for a reason. Trust that gut feeling. Sometimes people think intuition is just a part of you that tells you not to do something. But if you're really in tune with your intuition also tells you when to do something. Sometimes your intuition is saying yes, but your mind is saying no. Understand the difference between intuition and not trusting people or trusting things. Get clear. Feel that gut feeling. Your intuition can tell you yes or it can tell you no, right? So just start taking small steps, change your focus, silence all those external voices that are telling you you're not enough. Understand when your mind is sabotaging you. Reprogram your mind, get rid of negative self-talk. Don't let that chirping of you not being enough tell you that you're not enough, because that's a lie. And all we do is live the stories that we're telling ourselves. We live the story of ourselves. And that story usually came from someone else. A parent that did not believe in themselves enough is going to pass that on to their children. Doesn't make them bad people. They just didn't know the difference. And you are here, all of you here are here to break those generational curses of not being enough. Because you are who you say you are. So if you're going to tell yourself a story, tell yourself a damn good story. All right, let's bring our panel up. Okay, who wants to get started? Jack?
So I actually received an interesting email. A lady was asking me to touch upon the subject. A fear of success. It's something that I think a lot of XGWs also carry into their life, because while they were Jehovah's Witnesses, very often, if you have some sort of success, outside of the religion, people would look at you as proud. People would look at you as, not spiritual or materialistic, and that criticism, it's there, and it's causing people to self-sabotage. The moment they have a little bit of success, they first downplay it. They can't share their successes because they're afraid of being judged. But the moment that happens, they like, the fear comes in. Is like, oh, you know what, maybe I'm going to, step down a little bit and slow down, and they self-sabotage their own success. I call it the thermostat, right? Like, if it gets too hot, you cool it off, right? And you start working really hard when you're poor. So it's very important to address this issue, because it could affect you even decades after leaving Jehovah's Witnesses. Because that fear of, you might not be afraid of the criticism of congregation, but inside maybe you think, oh, if I'm successful, I'm bragging, sharing about my success, and therefore people will judge me as materialistic, and so on and on. So that fear is there, and very often people don't know how to handle it. So I actually wanted to ask some of you, how do you feel about it too? Because I know you mentioned upon it in your talk.
Yeah. Gary?
We can't hear you, Gary.
Gary, you're in mute.
You're muted.
All right, sorry about that. Well, I think that I don't like to be a braggart, and I sometimes go the opposite way, which is not particularly helpful. I'm always being self-deprecating, But I think that when we praise other people, at least as much as we talk about our own accomplishments, if we really show interest in them and say, ask questions about what they're doing, it just you're not going to come across like you're a braggart. Nobody's going to look at it that way. They're just going to probably congratulate us just the way we're congratulating them for their successes.
Yeah, remember this, everyone. Confidence and conceit are not the same thing. And people try to wrap those things up as if they are. They're not the same thing at all. Am I still there? Because
Yeah,
am I
yeah, we
still
can
there?
hear you. We can hear you.
Okay,
I just wanted to
frozen.
mention something that, like,
I-
if you're a parent, you see your child succeeding, you will praise them right, left, and center, right? It's like, oh, I'm so happy you got into the school or play, or you did so good, so, and you have such a great marks. And we praise our children to boost our self-confidence and stuff. But then there's this moment when, step into the real world, and maybe in the environment of Jehovah's Witnesses, you could only share successes when it comes to things in the congregation. Like, maybe you shared, oh, I got a new Bible study, I'm happy about it. But even then, they always said, well, all glory to Jehovah. You could never take it for yourself that you accomplished something, because then you're bringing attention to yourself. And I think that, finding that right balance between being boastful and bragging and being humble, finding that the right balance somewhere inside, it's quite a challenge. There's additional layer that Jehovah's Witnesses have that they have to overcome, right? And I think it is a challenge for many. I know for myself, when I decided to push for business and success, one of the things that I had to do as a Jehovah's Witness, still believer, I told myself, I will copy what the Watchtower is doing because they're successful. And they don't rent their places, they don't rent watch Kingdom Halls. They always build, they always invest in real estate, they have portfolio investments, and they're very well run corporations. So I thought, oh, if I copy what they do instead of what they tell me to do, I will end up being successful, because if I do what they tell me to do, I'll most likely end up on welfare. So sometimes you just got to look at, if somebody's criticizing you, chances are they're fearful. They're fearful. Maybe they're trying to protect you from something. That's usually when somebody criticizes somebody else. It's usually because they see that you're heading a certain direction that they got burned, and they want you to not experience that pain. But if somebody is sharing their success, it opens up also a door for a person who is listening to this, and they're saying, oh, if he can do it, so can I. And it inspires people. So I always try to be more inspirational, to help people to see, hey, you know what, I have struggled too. I was where you are, and you can do better in life. There's more for you if you choose to, instead of bragging, oh, I'm so good and you're no good, right? So you finding that right balance of, you know what, you could help other people to even think that they can achieve something by showing by example, that what, what's possible, right? Inspire others.
You should always feel good about your accomplishments. You should always feel good about the gifts that you're given. So the gifts that you're given are gifts. They're not even about you. Every human being has specific gifts. So when you own your gift, it's not about you. Your gift is for you to share with the world. Your gift is to add value to others. Good cannot become great without the acknowledgement of the gift. If it's a gift, know that you have it and you share it with people. But you will never share your gift the right way or with the people you should share it with if you don't acknowledge that it's a gift. Humility is understanding that other people have a gift too, right? So if Jack has a gift, Christine has a gift, Gary has a gift, Dean has a gift, Janelle has a gift. My gift is no greater, but if I acknowledge my gift can become great. Your gift cannot become great if you don't acknowledge it. So it's the people that acknowledge, yes, I'm gifted. I'm not going to play it down. I know what I'm good at. I'm not going to play it down. But I also know what I'm not good at. When you conceited, you think you're better, you're just a better human being. No, you just know your gift and you own it. And there's no need to play it down. It's just your gift. Okay. Next, Christine, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Great topic and good question, Jack. This is actually one of the first things that Coach Rod helped me with when I was learning how to deprogram from what was in the subconscious from the organization. And it was, you said to me, Rod, you're like, it's not a fear of success that you have a fear of criticism. And maybe not from the organization, because that was long done for me, but really my family and what other people think of me because of that programming. And that would even say the good girl syndrome or good boy syndrome, right? And instead of following our authentic truth or our authentic heart, I always think of like, why are you sharing the thing, right? If you feel like you're bragging or you feel like you're the one that's talking all the time, then look at why. Is it because you feel less than, or you're looking for validation outside of yourself, which that can only come from within? And so it's really just to look at the why behind what you're sharing to see if maybe you do need a little bit of work on self value or self esteem, because sometimes over talking is from nervousness or wanting to be seen. And I find that, you know, when we have been taught, like when we were in the organization, we were right and the world was wrong, right? And so we have this view of like what I have to say is truth, or it's my way or the highway, or I'm doing this thing, so then everyone else should be doing this thing. But it's just like, again, why, and what you're expressing or sharing, and being able to share our successes is really awesome. Like, life is hard. And so if you have done something or you feel proud, I find if you ask permission first, hey, I've got something exciting I've been noticing. Can I share it with you? Or I just accomplished something. Can I share it with you? And most times people, have the capacity to say yes or no. But just again, it comes down to, why are you saying it, or what's the motivation behind?
I love what you shared. We need to know who to invalidate. You can't validate everyone. You have to understand that different people are looking at life through different lenses. I'll give an example. A friend of mine passed recently, very famous person, famous all over the world, touched many lives. One of my greatest inspirations, touched my life and opened up opportunities for me. Um, and I was talking to my dad, and I was saying, he lived quite a life. He touched so many people, and he lived 88 years, and a life well lived. And my dad told me, my dad's a witness. He goes, well, I don't really agree with that because, The way I look at it is that it's the new world. Whatever you do in this world doesn't matter, and it's the new world, and it just makes zero sense. This person has helped feed hungry children, and he's just done so much, touched so many lives. But at that moment, I just have to invalidate my dad. You just live in this world, but you can't see this. So why am I going to validate anything you say? It makes no sense in my world. It makes no sense in the world of 99% of the people on this planet. He lives in a Jehovah Witness world with this nonsense and I love my dad. It's just the world he lives in. So I invalidate anything he says. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter what he thinks about my life, what I'm doing. Listen, I am the loser of my family. They're all witnesses. No matter what I do, I'm the loser. I could become president of the United States of America, and I'm the loser of my family still. My two elder brothers live a far more impactful life than me. President Allgood. That's insanity. I'm looking at you laughing because it's so stupid. So why would I validate that? So you have to invalidate people who look at life through a different window. And if it works for them, great. You don't have to invalidate them either. Just know that we don't look out the same window. You're looking out the window. Witnesses look out the window of the house and they see a garbage dump because that's how they see the world. They see nothing but a landfill. I'm looking out the window and I see nothing but the Pacific Ocean. And I can't convince you of what I see. I don't want to look at that landfill, so I invalidate what you say. Next, Janelle.
Yeah, we're going invalidating. Sometimes we have to invalidate our thoughts, certain thoughts of ourselves. And in answer to Jack's question, I actually had a huge struggle with this last weekend. I was there going to be a movie premiere in which I was in. I had a small part in it, and I felt like I did a horrible job. And so I didn't want to tell anyone about it. And then too, I just wasn't used to the attention, inviting people for the premiere and all this and this and that. So time started getting close. And, then too, with the witness background is, that self-centered, you bragging, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I can tell that I was kind of in that world, so to speak. And I just had a struggle with that. And then had to make myself if I don't do this, I'm gonna put the belt on myself. I had to put a belt to the thoughts, and I just kind of sat in it I try to imagine myself not going and pay attention to how my body will respond and what I regretted. And then I was setting a decision of going and see how my body respond and ask myself what I regretted. And I was like, I will regret if I don't go.
Mm-hmm.
So I went in and did, and I had to pretend that I was doing it for Janelle, not for me, but doing it for Janelle. Because sometimes we're real quick to put our efforts and energy for somebody else, you know. So, I went shopping and all that, blah, blah, blah. Invited a few people. One was able to come, and platonic friendship. He took me out for dinner before the premiere. And he was like, I got you. I got you. He loves fine restaurants, right? That's all he does. So he picked a fine restaurant, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to pick items. I don't want to get the wrong idea that I'm trying to take advantage of him. Friendship. I cherish the friendship. Well, then, I just have all these thoughts. So I said, well, I don't know what to pick. What route do you want me to go? The budget, whatever. And he was like, girl, he has a flamboyant personality a little bit. He was like, girl, you can go to $1,000. This is you, girl, and everything. I was like, what, And so I did a dinner, did a premiere, and we didn't get a chance to do dessert. He was like, oh, girl, we're going back for the dessert. And we went back for the dessert, got 3 desserts, and we had a wonderful waitress. And she did a beautiful gesture. She did a 4th dessert, and she kind of just spoke for our celebration, that evening, and tears just came out. I couldn't hide it, and tears just came out. So, sometimes we have to invalidate, our certain thoughts that doesn't contribute to our well-being, because, I just wasn't, I think what I told myself was, whether they deleted my part in the movie or they left it in there, whatever, my driving force was, Janelle, do this out of respect for your efforts. You can't do it for anything else. Respect your effort. Respect that you were even capable of doing this. And I think that may have, I don't know, helped me to have a conversation with my family yesterday. My mom told me that, Janelle, I can't talk to you, you bad association, because I've been on a couple of days and I celebrated a holiday. And it wasn't, like this experience of my family told you and all this and that. I didn't shed a tear, because one, I'm not gonna, and I told them I'm not gonna put all this energy and effort into a relationship that's flaky, regardless of the reason. And when she told me, I'm bad association, I said, Mama, I fully respect that, and I respect your perspective, but this is how I'm going to operate with what you're telling me. I know I'm not bad association, because when I'm out and about, and when people are in my presence, they feel better. They feel better to the core. I'm not bad.
I'm gonna give you another way to look at that.
Please.
First of all, I want to congratulate you on what you did,
Oh,
right? And get used to being celebrated. You are struggling with being celebrated, right? That's where all the no birthdays and the no all that stuff makes it uncomfortable for us to be celebrated. Your friend wanted to celebrate you. It was your day. You
yeah.
get to be all that, right? Now, when you're a witness, the attention, don't you like it's so self-serving. Everybody gets a birthday. I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else. Everybody gets a birthday. How am I putting myself over everybody else? Now, when you get celebrated, as long as you're a person who's able to celebrate others. Now, when his day comes up and it's his time to be celebrated, you celebrate him.
Yeah.
We all get to be all that on our days. When I do something awesome, yeah, take me out to dinner. if I do some big speaking gig and I knock it out the park, take me out. It's my day. Please. Yes, yes. Celebrate. Bring it. No, stop. But I'm willing to celebrate others on their day. So you take all that. Now, on the bad association, remember this. I'm bad association. For witnesses, I'm bad association. Hang around me long enough and I'll mess you all up. I'm bad association. If you want to keep believing that, stay away from me. I will mess you all up if you watch my life. I'll make you question everything about your life. If you hang out with me too much, I'm bad association. Yes, for them. Oh, yeah. I'll make you question everything. I'll ask you a question you can't answer without even attacking your religion. Oh, I'm bad association. All right. You don't really want to hang out with me.
Okay, so question with what you said. I appreciate what you said, by the way. That rolls up my alley. But okay. So out of respect of the subconscious, because subconscious don't know when you're saying things that are true or not true.
Mhm.
So, just the words of I'm bad association.
I'm just using,
Am I being too sensitive? Am I being
yeah,
too
I don't use those words in my head.
no?
I'm viewing myself through their eyes. Right? I don't walk around thinking I'm bad associating to anybody. But
Right.
through their eyes, when I put my witness cap on, I'm exactly what you don't want.
Okay.
Because that makes total sense.
So we'll be playful with it. Okay. I like that.
Make too much sense. I tell witnesses when they want to talk to me or preach to me, this is not going to be good for you. You really want to go here? I will mess you up. I tell them that straight up. In 5 minutes, you want to end this conversation. So let's just say hello, hug, how you doing? Because if you go there, it's not good for you. You will walk away scratching your head. You will walk away messed up. You don't want to go there. right? And I want to honor people. Listen, if I wake you up, that might destroy your whole marriage. That might mess your life up. You ready for that? Oh, I'm not. No,
I love that. I love that.
in your world, I'm the dude you don't want to go here, and I'm gonna do it totally respectfully. I don't disrespect witnesses, but I know the religion makes no sense, and if I poke at it, it will mess you up. I'm okay with it. That's not the world I'm trying to live in anyway. That's not the people I'm trying to get validation from. Remember this in life: the people that never have will tell you you cannot. The people who already have done will tell you you can.
Mhm.
This opinion has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with what they think about themselves. They're just projecting at you, good or bad.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, next. Adi.
Yeah, just I sat in something today where the person said, "Would you speak to your friends the way you speak to yourself?" Because you probably won't have any friends. And I think one of the things that I think I know that I grew up with that because we were so different. The only way, or the way that kind of I made sense of it, was you spoke down about those around you, or those that weren't in. You kind of belittled them amongst your little in group. And I think one of the other things as well that I know that I did as well is that when you did something wrong, you were as a person did something wrong. It wasn't just your actions; it was you as a person that fell short because of the little dent in the baking tin, as they used to say. So it was fundamentally flawed within yourself. And also all those little affirmations that came across, don't think more of yourself than is necessary. I mean, they're still popping into my head. And I just want to relate an experience about that. This was quite a few years ago. I went up and I joined the local Toastmasters and told my wife I was going to go do that. She said, "Oh, you'll be great at that." And anyway, did it. And I got back and she said, "How was it?" And I said, "No, it was great," and everything else. And about 4 days later, she says, "I didn't know that you got voted president," because I didn't tell her.
Mm.
Because to me, and I just looked at her and I said, "But that's not that important." And she said, "Of course it's important." She said, "Anything that you achieve is important." But that's kind of where your self-concept has been trapped, I think, by the thinking that is there. It's kind of like you're just doing what you ought to be doing. So it doesn't matter what you achieve. It's kind of like, well, those are God-given talents, nothing to do with you. It's the least that you could do is be like reach out, but never be, because it's almost like if you're proud of something, you're haughty. Those two things are equated within the belief structure. And I think that's the difference is how do you do that? And I think that there are two sort of things that I've always struggled with. And that's one of them. And the other one is to make myself feel better is I have to put other people down. Instead of going, now, hang on. Let's just lift everybody. Let's just let the tide lift all the ships. And let's see how we can make everybody feel better. And I still struggle with that.
How do you honor God without honoring the gifts you're given? How?
True.
So to think a lot of your gifts is thinking a lot of whatever you believe, God, source, universe, whatever your belief is currently. That's how you honor that. You were given a gift. There is no need to play it down. There is no need to play it small. You honor it by sharing it with the world. You honor it by acknowledging it. You honor it by honing it, by putting attention on it, to making good great, not by putting ourselves down. We honor others. Humility is when you can see the greatness in others and see where you need to improve in life. In Tibet, there's a saying, I think it's Tashi Delay, something like that. Tashi Delay. They greet each other with this saying. And what it is it's saying, I honor the greatness in you. And they say it to each other. So when you receive that, if you receive it and not push it away, it means you're acknowledging the greatness in you. You're not saying it to yourself. Someone else is saying it to you and you're acknowledging. And then you say it to the other person. But we live in a world where we tend to put each other down and talk down on other people and point out their flaws, and then we talk ourselves down. We got negative self-talk, and that's why things are the way they are sometimes. Everybody's pulling each other down and themselves. No, honor each other, help others raise themselves up, but you pull yourself up too. And when it's your day to be honored, you take all of that. Janelle, you take all of that. How many people can even say you did what you did? Isn't that cool? You got to do something that most people dream of doing, right? You should be like, yeah, that's pretty cool. What is life but the experiences you have, the love you share and the experiences you have, right? Now you can put that in your feather. I got to be on I was on One Life to Live. I was on Baywatch Hawaii. I did a few things, right? Like I get to say I did that. How cool is that? So that's just part of your memory bank. You got to do something very few people do. Always celebrate those times and those things. Anybody else?
Did you run up the beach on Baywatch?
No. Sat around waiting for them to call my little bitty little parts I had. Gary?
Yeah, if you look up like the biography on anybody, I'll use Harrison Ford as an example because I know a little bit about him. If you look him up and you look at, I don't know, Wikipedia or IMDb or whatever, notice how the article is written. It's always going to say Harrison Ford is an American actor or something like that. That's what he is. He's a lot of other things. He's also the husband of somebody, this and that, but he's an American actor. And then as it goes on, it's going to say, I don't know, let's say was nominated for an Academy Award. It's going to, flesh it out a little bit more. And that's it. It's not, it's the next thing is going to be new subheading, bio or early life. And it's going to talk about where he was born, where his parents are from. Then you wonder, well, how did he get to be an actor? Well, it's going to come later. So he is an American actor. That's what Harrison Ford is. With all the things that he's done, that's what he's known for. You're not going to see it say he's an ex-carpenter. He was a carpenter. That's how he got into, or he guess he still is. That's how he got into acting, because he was doing carpentry for the movie companies. So what he used to do has nothing to do with it. It's going to come later, at some point. But the main thing is he's an actor. So if we are going to tell people who we are, what we are, is it probably we're not. If we're thinking in the present, we're not going to say, well, I was a Jehovah's Witness for 30 years. That might be part of the story if they're interested, if the conversation goes that way. But if we define ourselves that way in the present, that's not really an affirmation-based kind of a discussion. And so anyway, I want to mention about affirmations. Affirmations are what we kind of tell ourselves about ourselves. Like, I am not just a life coach, but I am also intelligent. I'm a very loving person. This and that. That's probably not something you're going to say to somebody in an elevator that wants to know what you do. You're not going to say, I'm a very loving person. I'm very intelligent. That'd be kind of weird, So I always kind of boil it down to what's your elevator speech. If you're in an elevator with somebody and you got like 20 seconds and they ask you, what do you do? You're going to come out with, I used to be what the heck was I? A financial advisor. You're going to try to frame it in a way that indicates your value that you bring to people. You're not just going to say, I'm a financial advisor. You're going to say, I help people reach their retirement safely, or I help people reach their most treasured goals. And if I have another 10 seconds, I'll say I do that by analyzing, that's what an elevator speech is. So practice an elevator speech for what would you tell somebody that wants to know who is Christine, who's Janelle, who's Dean, who's Gary. It's going to start out with what we are best known for, what the major thing that we're doing, not something we did in the past, not what college we went to, not, how we decided at the age of 10 we wanted to take up acting. It's just going to be who I am today and what value I can bring to the world in general.
And it really matters what you think about yourself, okay? Because there are some people that are never going to change the way they see you, especially people from your past life as a Jehovah Witness. You know, how I see myself and how other people see me is totally different. People in this community look at me as the XJW coach or the person that helps witnesses. Like I'm the XJW guy to them. That's not how I see myself. Even though people look at me that way, I'm just a person that helps people. I help these people because I understand them, because I walk that path myself of being a witness, but I'm a person that helps people, all kinds of people. So I don't put myself in a box, and it doesn't matter what people think, it matters what I think. So remember, what you think is what matters. How you define yourself is what matters. And keep visualizing. I want to close this by saying, keep visualizing. If you can't see where you're going, you will never get there. Everything is possible. What you can convince your mind of, what you can conceive, you can receive. What you can hold in your mind, you can hold in your hand. You must believe that. And if a grand vision is too big for you to really conceptualize and think can be possible, then make it smaller. And when you get there, recalibrate and make it bigger. But you've got to get your visualization and your affirmations as a regular part of your life. You got to start seeing what you want, because you were taught to see this fantasy, this new world, something you had no control over. That's where we all get messed up, because we're visualizing something that was imagined. Like the witnesses got all detailed about stuff about the new world that never wasn't told anywhere. It's going to be like this in the new order. Yeah, no idea. They're just making all this up. What can you control with your thoughts, with your visualization, and with your affirmations? Control your thoughts, control your energy. Remember, thoughts become words, words become action, action become habits, habits become your reality. I'm going to end this with this poem. Some of you have heard this poem before. I'm a poet. I wake up with poems. That's my gift. I share these poems with you because they're not for me. They come through me. They're for you. This is called the gift. There's a gift that dwells inside of you, bestowed by the universe. Your purpose lives within your heart, for it was given to you at birth. Your worth is not in question, but it's doubt that won't let you see the greatness that resides inside of you. It's your belief that sets it free. This gift is not for you. Your gift is for us all. So consider it as selfishness if you don't heed your call. This life that we are blessed to live is not merely to exist. It's time to change your point of view, to take time to ponder this. Now imagine yourself old, and it's your life that's in review. Will you be filled with regret of the things you did not do? Or will you have an empty feeling as you sit and stare, knowing that you will leave this earth with a gift you failed to share? So live to leave a legacy, and always remember this, that you're one of a kind and that you were born to shine, and your purpose is your gift. And with that, I will wish you a happy Sunday fun day. Go out there and have some fun. Go out there and make some new experiences and make today your masterpiece. See you next time.